Cheers.
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 Welcome to the Afternoon Pint. I'm Mike Tobin.
I am Matt Conrad.
And who do we have with us today?
I am Marc Zirka.
Marc Zirka. Okay. So what do you do, Marc?
Well, I am the founder of StrategyUp. It's a consulting firm based here in Bedford. So we are here to help small, medium enterprises and entrepreneurs to just get better at what they are doing.
Better. And you're already helping us because you might have heard Marc's ad at the very beginning of this episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 So Marc is our newest sponsor. So thanks for coming on board and be a part of the Afternoon Pint Club.
We appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it as well.
That's
It's
awesome.
a great show, so I am very happy to be part of it.
No, it's an honor having you. And like having a sponsor here for an episode to really know what you're about. Like, I mean, Matt and I mean, not to sound funny, but we do pick our sponsors. I mean, we have a genuine interest in what people do or who people are. We approach them. And that's why we're happy to have you here.
Yeah, I think that's important for anyone listening is to know that, like, we're not just working with partnering with anybody. If anything, someone for like myself, I consider myself someone a bit of a networker myself, and a network of people becomes an extension of you. I firmly believe that. And, whoever you associate yourself with in business reflects on who you are.
Good philosophy, good advice for others too.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. Networking is great. I think this is how we met, Matt, at the beginning. First networking event, then a second one, and then third one, and there we go.
You know what? So this is what I was actually going to touch on that. So the very first time that both you and I met Marc was here at Station 6.
Oh, we met him at the same time, did we?
Yes.
Oh, it's 6 to 6. I remember
that corner, right over there. Yes.
I didn't realize we both met at the same time. That's cool.
So we met him. We did kind of like our little speed dating your business that we were trying to do, but it was way too loud. We couldn't record anything.
That was a flub up. So just to the listeners, we tried to do like a speed, and we're going to try it again.
We are going to do it.
We did like a speed dating thing with small business, so everybody got to talk about their business for 1.5 minutes. But it was organized by Lawrence,
another previous
who was
guest,
also on the show, and it was such a loud event. There was music and lots of people talking, so it came out terrible. The audio, and it was unusable.
Fantastic event,
fun event.
So again, thank you to Station 6 for letting us record podcasts here.
Yeah.
Also, if you're looking to host a networking event, they have a really cool back room which they let us use to record our podcasts all the time.
Yeah, that's where we're at now.
It's actually amazing, right?
Yeah. It's a really nice looking,
a beautiful atmosphere too, right? Yeah, love it.
So that's So like shout out to them. Also, we do have some beers here. I'm drinking the Tata Brew Sour.
Yes, that's the same beer you had with the Premier.
It is the same beer. That
Wicked. How did I? And you really liked it, so I got it for you again.
I do like sours. We should have switched because I know how much you like it. I'll take a sip.
I'm not a sours guy. Yeah, that's it. A running joke. But I got the Propeller ESB and Garrison Red, right? Yes, that's a very classic red. It's one of the best Garrison beers. I think one of their OG beers.
It is.
I'd say, for sure. Yeah, it's a great beer.
So now we got all the the thanks and all that stuff out of the way. Marc, I want to go actually back to that. There's something that stuck out. Out of all those people we talked to, there's only 2 fun facts that stuck out, and you are one of them.
One of the questions we asked was what was it? Say a fun fact about you. How do we ask
fun fact? Yeah, give us a fun fact about yourself. Okay, one guy said that he was the voice of on
Hey Arnold,
or sticking around. I don't know. Anyway,
okay, he was a
voiceover. It didn't stick in that well. But you told us a story about how you fought an alligator or something.
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't fight it, but the alligator almost ate me.
All right, so paint the picture. Where were you at when this alligator came at you?
Oh my God! So we were in Burkina Faso, in the capital, in Ouagadougou, and at that time I was working in the mobile industry. So we had a meeting over there, and then we decided to say, you know what, this is the afternoon off. Let's go and visit something. Then one of our guides said, there is what we call the sacred lake over there. Do you want to go and visit? I said, yeah, but what is there? He said, just 100 alligators in a pond.
Okay.
I said, yeah, well, I think this is not very wise. I said, oh, don't worry. Since it was there is a village around. No one was yet killed by an alligator. I said, okay, perfect. So we went there, and then, like any gig, you just have to buy a live chicken. Then you have to tie the chicken to a stick with a rope, and then you let the chicken walk a little bit on the shores or of the lake, and then the alligators will hear the tapping, and then they will come out. So we had 3 chickens.
It's like fishing for alligators.
Yeah, in a way. Actually, the alligators were fishing us in a way. So the first chicken, well, we said goodbye to it very quickly. The second one, for some reason, the rope was not very tight on the leg. Then it ran away, and then it started running to our way, and then the alligator was after it, and then the alligator was trying to eat us. So we just ran away, and then the alligator calmed down. He said, "I probably will not so tasty." So
and then as calm as the alligator looked into Marc's eyes and said, "One day you'll start a business." And then jumped into the river and provided the inspiration for his next chapter in life.
Well, actually, starting a business is like somehow throwing yourself among sharks,
100%.
but as long as you know how to swim, right? So you need to learn how to swim. You need to learn the basics of business first. But definitely it has its the risks, but also it has so many good rewards, and I am happy for that.
Yeah.
And starting a business. You started StrategyUp 5 years ago?
Well, actually, I started it more than that. We've been already 6 years here in Nova Scotia, but I started it in, I think, 2016, 2015. Okay. So I am originally from Lebanon, so I started from there. And then we also had a headquarters in the United States. But then when we decided to move here, we moved the whole headquarters from the US to Canada.
Cool.
What inspired you to leave Lebanon and kind of make your way over to North America?
Well, it's unfortunate. Leaving Lebanon was not a choice. I was in a way forced by the bad economy, the wars. So I was born in 1975. I'm giving out my age now. But I was born when the war started, when the Civil War started. So I lived all my life during the war, so I know the whole thing. But I was all the time immersed in business. Like my father was all the time working in FMCG group products, and I had an uncle who had his own business. So I was all the time, immersed in this kind of business environment. And then one day I said, like, at some point I will never be an employee anymore and have my own business. But I think I was smart enough that I didn't start my business from the get-go. I had to learn with the money of others, right? So I was an employee. I did the mistakes where I didn't have...
George Hanna, go back and listen to that episode a little bit more about the money with others. It's a really cool lesson from George.
Yeah. Actually, I listened to that episode.
Did you? Cool. Yeah.
So technically, I was able to learn a lot. I worked with lots of different organizations, international organizations all over the world. So, and then I left Lebanon. And then I started my career in Africa, and this is where I went to meet the crocodiles, among other things. And then after Africa, I went back to the Middle East.
Where in Africa were you?
So I was out of Lebanon as a base, but I was responsible of all Western Africa, mainly the French-speaking countries, and then some of the Central African countries.
And going back, like leaving Lebanon and going to Africa first, like what kind of transition did that feel like for you? The environment must have felt so different.
Oh yeah, oh my God, it was a great experience, because no matter how much you are prepared to accept others and to accept other cultures, you will always have this culture shock. But I would say being in Africa was one of my best lessons in life. Because you will see how small things that you have access to, how others don't have access to. So you are blessed with the very small things. Right. And then it really changed the whole way I look at life, and I look at how I do business. But I really enjoyed it. Great people. Like if you tell me to go now, I would leave everything and I would go at least to do business. Maybe not to live there, but just to go to business and stay in touch with the community over there. So I visited more than maybe 15, 16 countries in Africa.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, I was on the road. Like once we had to do we had a flight from Senegal to Congo, to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and we had 7 stops on the way. So it was like a bus. So, and this is how like people getting on and off. And off.
Wow.
So this is just a flight that's supposed to be like 4 hours, but it lasted like 8 or 9 hours, just simply because of. So
it must be massive, like culture shock going from country to country. I mean, every country has their differences and stuff like that. But like when you get into the European Union, I mean, they have like the French is different culture than the German versus the Swiss and like and all that stuff. But you can go from like a democratic state to like a not democratic state.
There is even one more dimension. I am not an expert in Africa, but I've been there for a while and I know it. It's very tribal. So
exactly,
even business within the same country, it depends on who is sitting on the table from which tribe, and also what is their position in the tribe.
Right.
And this is how deals are going to be
You
made.
know, and
right?
we
So-
think that's so different, but when you really, really think about it, PEI is pretty tribal, dude.
that's
Like,
true.
you know, I mean, and that sounds silly to say, but
Okay.
PEI really, if you go and do business in PEI, like I've left Nova Scotia and drove to PEI and been door knocking in PEI trying to find business, and they will be like, where are you from on the island?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not from here.
Yeah, you
And
can't
they're
even like
"Why are
buy
you here?"
land.
I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Who let you in?
Well, I mean, they have a little bit of protectionism. Like, unless you live there, you can't really buy land. Like, they don't want people. They didn't want PEI to become like cottage country to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia,
Sure.
right? Kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So
but there's a preference, right? To do
Yeah.
when PEI, they like to do business with people that at least live in PEI, right? And that's not a terrible thing. I mean, that's their preference. And but I mean, I don't know if that's the exact same way now. That was 10 years ago, right? That could have changed a little, but
And to be like really clear, it's not like you have to necessarily. It has nothing to do with like being born in PEI, or has nothing to do with them being anti-immigration or anything. It's fine to be an
It's like
immigrant.
you
they just want to know that you live
Yes.
there,
right?
right?
Yeah.
And I think this is a little bit normal. Like even for me, Nova Scotia changed even since I came here in 2018 until today in the way you do business, right?
Yeah.
And I totally understand it
How
because
so?
in small markets, you need to protect your market. You
Right.
cannot just have everyone and anyone come and knock on the door and mess up with the equilibrium that you have, right? And also we understand that especially in small communities and rural communities, everybody knows everyone, everybody is married to everyone, everybody is the cousin of everyone, right? So you don't want to really mess up with this unless you really know that the people who are coming to stay.
Yeah.
Because I think and I believe that in the past, Nova Scotia or the Atlantic provinces were more like transition area for people. So they were coming, either getting their education or starting 1 or 2 years, doing some savings, and instead of spending these savings in these provinces, they were taking them to the bigger provinces, to where they really wanted to go. So why should I give you my dollar to go and spend it, let's say in Ontario, rather than keeping it here and feed my cousin who have another store next to me, right?
Right.
So I totally understand it when you are a small community. However, look at how we changed over here when the market opened up. The diversity that we had, the new businesses that we had, how we grew, how the again, I don't want to go into micro and macroeconomics, but the GDP of the province changed in composition and in size the minute we decided to open up a little bit more, right? So there is no risk. At the contrary, I am not for protectionism, but there is no risk of opening up, but we need to do it in a very systematic way, and we need to know how to manage it. Otherwise, it might backfire.
We need to communicate it better.
Oh, yeah.
We need people to
definitely.
understand what's happening. I think sometimes there's a fear in just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, you go downtown and they're like, there was the longest thing in Halifax where I'm sure you know this, but like, and maybe if people are listening outside of Nova Scotia, we didn't want any buildings blocking Citadel Hill facing the harbor, right? Which is because, there's cannons on Citadel Hill in case war started again. I mean, but the probability that we're going to use cannons to fight the next war that we're on Citadel Hill is fairly low, right? We've changed that. But, you can still understand the tradition and appreciate that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to really start saying, well, geez, guys, you got to grow up or,
Exactly.
or
100%.
something's going to happen. It's not good to not have concentrated areas. Now, there's still country in Nova Scotia. Like, you and I both live pretty much in the country.
We do, yes.
Right? And I mean, so there's still an option to have a quiet home outside the busy metropolis. And that's the same story in Ontario, in Toronto.
Oh,
It's a bit of a
geez, yeah,
drive
you can-
in there.
Not even that. If you leave, like you can drive outside of like Oakville, and literally it's just like it's like a line in the sand. All of a sudden you're in farmland.
But you need that big city to help.
Oh, yeah.
You need it. And when you need that, you need people there.
Yeah.
You need people there from countries all around the world. You need immigration.
Yeah.
You need to grow. You need to grow.
100%.
Or you're going to die.
And that's the thing, and it kind of goes back to what Mark was saying. Like, we opened up and we welcomed a lot of people in here.
Yeah.
We've been more aggressive on growing as a province than ever before. And
Crazy
I'm not,
problems.
I'm not going. I'm not downplaying the fact that we have problems that we need to fix. There's housing issues and all all of that stuff.
And that's a huge issue. And that was an I don't know what you call it, an undersight?
Maybe, yeah. But either way, but there's more money here than there's ever been.
Right.
There's more money here than there's ever been. And a lot of that also is not just because of the fact that we've grown and we've opened up and everything, but and we've grown as a province in terms of business, but we actually have people like Marc who are global business people that are like, I can just live here. I can live here.
We want that, though.
And take money from all these things. That's what we were talking about with Aaron, too, about having the film industry.
Yeah. Yes.
We're taking money from California, hundreds of millions of dollars from California, and bringing it here,
Nova Scotia,
and paying our people, and investing in here and creating jobs and all that stuff. It's we can keep circling the money around here in Nova Scotia all we want, but the idea for us to get lower taxes, to have better conditions, is to take money from other people,
right,
and bring it here.
Definitely, but the one thing that to go back a little bit, like why, for example, PEI is not really opening up to a certain extent.
I don't even know if that's a fact now, so I want to be careful. But the way it was 10 years ago, say, but that very traditional kind
Definitely.
of
So just to say, like what we do as well here with StrategyUp is that one of the major things that we see happening is the resistance to change. So first of all, a human nature doesn't like change. We like status quo. We like our comfort zone.
100%.
We like to be in control, right? So why usually we resist change? There are many reasons, but there are a couple of very important reasons. The first reason is that the fear from the unknown.
Yeah.
So anything that you don't know or you ignore or you have no idea about, this is something that you fear.
Right.
So the first...
we're all like that.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm a creature of habit. When I don't know it, that's when I fear it the most.
And this is why it's very important to go back a little bit about how to jump from being an employee to do your own business and to be successful in your business, is that you need to educate yourself. Don't be afraid of asking questions, seeking help, right? Because you need to remove this first barrier, which is the fear from the unknown. The second level is, in a way, or the second reason is comfort zone. Like I am sitting in my comfort zone, and I hear it a lot in the business community. We've been doing it for the past 30 years this way, and it's successful. Why should I change today? Well, guess why? The world is changing. If you're not going to catch up, then definitely you will be behind.
Right.
So this is very important to just make sure that we are all catching up to the new things that are happening, so that we can become better leaders, business leaders, and become successful entrepreneurs and business owners.
Yeah, and that's where you come in to help them. To help them be successful, right?
Yeah, well, I don't want to pretend that I am in a way, when I talk with business owners, first of all, I treat their business as if it is my own business. Yeah. Like, I look at it and say, what would I do if I was running that business? Right? And to a certain level, I will tell you, to go back to the Africa story, so the business owner, when I was there as an employee, it was a family business. And once I went to his office and I looked him in the eyes and I said, can I ask you a question? Can I tell you one thing? He said, yes, go ahead. I said, can you go home and stop coming to the office so that we can do our job?
Okay.
So he told me, I am the business owner, so you are firing me. I said, I wish I could fire you because you're resisting change.
Wow.
You're not letting us do our job correctly. Right?
It also very much reminds me of like what Gordon Ramsay does with like the kitchen nightmares. He goes in, goes to the owner, he's like, go the F home and let me do it.
I was going to ask him to help out with this podcast, but his first solution, but he told me you have to leave. I was like, I thought I was doing a good job. Yeah. No, just joking.
No, I will be good. I will be nice to you. No, but why I said this? Because sometimes we need to do what I call the shock therapy at business. Yeah. We need to make people realize when they are doing mistakes, when they are in their comfort zone, where they think that they know it all, and maybe at some point, sometimes they never had anyone who told them no, who told them that they were wrong. Yeah. So they feel that everything they say, everything they do is right.
Isn't that normal for people who are like emotionally involved in things, though?
Yes. And I was about to interject with the exact same feeling. You know what? I think that's the fight of the entrepreneur, right? Like you got to go in and you got to go, I believe in this, right? And I believe blah, 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 and whatever. And you got to push and you got to have a little bit of a healthy amount of crazy to really push the cart forward. But at the same time, the antithesis sometimes to being an entrepreneur is being told what to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So when somebody has to say and give you that reality check, it hurts.
Of course,
it hurts
because
right?
you have to add the knowledge or the updated knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So if you were a successful entrepreneur 30 years ago and you didn't update your information, your knowledge, and you want to continue doing the same things the way you were doing it, definitely or most probably you're not going to be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and this is what I do with the businesses that I work with. I don't fire them, okay? But
I think I get the feeling like you're like that sobering second thought type of thing.
Yeah,
Right?
Sure.
definitely. I play the devil's advocate. I tell them the what if scenario, and then at some point I always tell them do the plan B, plan C, plan D. And some people say, but if you have a plan B, this means you're already setting yourself up to failing because you shouldn't.
Yeah.
At the contrary, you know why?
Why?
Because you don't know everything. You have lots of external factors that are going to come and alter your plan. So if you don't have a plan B,
that's a humble thought.
We did, and we talked about this in the podcast with Jacqueline about how entrepreneurs actually kind of like, some entrepreneurs are just good at something, right? So they're like, hey, you know what? I'm really good at building houses, so I'm going to build houses. I'm going to be a carpenter, developer, whatever. But that doesn't mean they know how to run a business, balance books, hire people, fire people, communicate,
whatever.
all this stuff. Like, you're good. You have a skill, but then there's 5 or 6 other things that go involved into having a business and managing a business, right? So it's like that's where you can get some help, and I think that's the biggest thing that we can like let everybody know who's like either starting a business or in a business. It's like the best thing you can do is tuck your ego behind you and just be like, you know what? If people are willing to give me good advice, maybe I should just listen to it because that's what a good leader does, right? Listens and takes all the advice
100%.
in, regurgitates it or whatever, acts on it, whatever. But it,
definitely. And this is why I say like we cannot do everything. We can be multitasking, but we cannot wear all the hats all the time and be successful. So at some point, you need to keep the hats where you think you are great at, and then you need to either outsource or seek for help or get a consultant. Or maybe not a consultant. For small businesses, you can have an advisory board. Yeah. An advisory board could be free so if you find a group of people who are willing to help you and be on your advisory board and just be this kind of the sound in your mind, right? We're going to come and tell you, no, this is what we saw in different markets, this is how we saw it in different companies, and they will guide you. You don't have to follow what they are telling you, but at least there is someone who's just raising the flag and say, hey, listen, we have a red flag, it's up to you to make a decision. Right. But and this is very helpful. Like I am also very involved with the Family Business Association. I am on the board of the Family Business Association, and we help a lot small family businesses, or some of them are extremely successful. They are in the top 5 in the province, nice. And some others are still like at the startup level or struggling. And this is how we help people in different places.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Camilla Najat with Exit Realty Metro.
Camilla Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camilla can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace.
You can reach Camilla by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca.
Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camilla Najat, Exit Realty Metro. Yeah, and if someone's listening and they're like, hey, like he can't help me, or what kind of business does he work, or like you really work with everything, right? You work with all sorts of different types of business.
Yeah, actually my philosophy is a little bit different. I would say that I am industry agnostic. Yeah. And some people will come and say, yeah, but you don't have experience in my industry, how are you going to help me? Well, I say, well, I am the best person to help because I have a fresh pair of eyes, and I look at things in a completely different, from a completely different angle than anyone who has been immersed in this industry for so many years. Right. I might not be 100% right on everything, but if I am right on 80% of the things, it's great enough. to at least guide you on many things. So this is why we are industry agnostic, because we are here to fix functions and to support functions.
Yeah.
While preparing
and
for
when
here,
you
we
say functions, like,
Yes.
let's get down to that for a minute. Like, so I'm I don't want to say a podcaster. Let's say I'm a carpenter, okay, and my business is growing, right? And it grew from one to I hired a guy, and then we got a bunch of houses. Now I hired 3 guys, right? I'm awesome at carpentry. We do a good job. I hire a good crew, but I'm bad with my scheduling. I'm not getting back to people on the phone anymore. I'm not doing this and that. And I mean, these solutions sound simple, right? Oh, we'll hire a secretary. Like, sometimes everything sounds really simple, but it gets convoluted, right? It gets convoluted. You really can't do it all. We learned that with this podcast.
Yeah.
Matt and I trust each other to different aspects of it.
Yes.
And to be honest, we could probably use more help, right? Because it's getting busy, and it's getting to times where both of us are like, I'm trying to do this thing with a video, or I'm trying to do this thing with the audio, or I'm trying to market this out to another. We're now trying to market in different provinces and different parts of the world, and we're like, whoa, how do we do that, right? Because we've had so many obstacles. Matt and I have it, like, we've been at it 1 year. And just think of, like, how many challenges where we literally said, how do we do that, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we figured out a way and got it, but, like, man, it's endless.
Yes.
It's endless levels, right? It's like a video game, like Tetris, you can never beat the damn thing, right?
Well, I think this is another thing, is like what a lot of people, like especially even like new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that are looking to like level up their business.
Right.
It's why not, like, they have not done whatever's in front of them, they've not done yet. Mm-hmm. So it's like almost kind of like, why not talk to someone who may have been involved in some, maybe it's your related
from another
business.
vertical. It's like, we're doing a podcast, but that guy that runs the other business says, well, this might sound crazy, but this guy that's a carpenter that didn't know how to do this and stated this scheduling app or whatever, and it changed his course of organization.
But some things are like, can go between jobs. It doesn't matter, right? Like, it's the same thing. Like, if you're leading people, sometimes it doesn't matter if you have done that particular job before.
No, I agree with that.
If you can lead people, you can lead people, right? You can learn the skill of the trade after, kind of thing. And that's where I think you can kind of come in, is like, if someone can't handle, like, whether it be scheduling or marketing or how to upscale their business or kind of get into the efficiencies, whether you're a carpenter or you're, an entrepreneur that invented something and you're manufacturing something, or, you're just, a podcaster, whatever.
Yeah.
The efficiencies can still be the same thing.
Definitely, because you have the transferable skills, right? And when we talk about soft skills, and this is the very, very important aspect of our team members, of our personality as leaders, is that we need to have this kind of transferable skills. And this is what we help them. We help not only on the soft skills, but just to go back to this carpenter who has a problem in scheduling, there are lots of very easy solutions to be used. There's software out there that could be cloud-based or not, that could cost them few dollars a month, up to maybe a couple, 20, 50, 30, 40, or even thousands. It depends how complex you want to make your business, right? But there is always a solution that's going to help you be more efficient. And this is where we come. We don't come to help you build a rocket if you don't need the rocket. Right. So we help you just build exactly to just get you to where you want. And actually, I am facing this problem. Now I want to build a fire pit in my backyard. I reached out to 4 different small businesses because I want to support small businesses. I don't want just to call, the big ones, the usual suspects. I already sent 2 messages, 4 calls, 6 emails to 4 different organizations 2 weeks ago. The first call I got was this morning, and still they don't have time, or they don't know when they want to come and do the survey in my backyard to give me a good quote.
Wow.
So what does it tell you? It tells you that, yes, you're busy, but this means that you cannot grow anymore.
That's right.
Right? So you have, if you are counting hours,
you don't stop doing the job, right? Like, which should be the ultimate of any entrepreneur. So it's like, don't you want to stop doing the job? Like, don't you want to get to a point where, okay, I built enough chimneys in my life. I would like to run this business, but I'd maybe like to be a little bit more of an ambassador to my brand that I've built.
100%.
And take a step back and just kind of really enjoy a little bit of my life and still support it, but not build the chimneys every day, right?
I think that's the biggest thing with entrepreneurs is letting go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not only letting go. Now I understand that now we have even a bigger challenge where you cannot find enough resources to help you, right? And the
It's
working
hard to let
force.
go.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
But you have a finite number of hours per day that you can work. So if everybody is counting per hour, then this is your maximum. If you do, let's say, $100 an hour, multiply by 40 hours. So that's it. This is what you can do. But what if you can multiply it by 10? What if you can multiply it by 20?
Right.
If you know how to use the right systems.
Yeah, and
right?
I think that's the big thing too. Is like that's some people might think like hiring somebody like yourself. It's like, oh well, what's that going to cost me? But you have to look at like kind of total bottom line, right? I mean, we do commercial insurance, and that's we kind of speak to that a little bit of like what's what can, when you look at someone's their bottom line of things, what can you afford, right? I could sit there and say like, I have this coverage, and this coverage is going to cost you $10,000 a year, and you might go, whoo, $10,000 a year, that's a whole lot of money. But if you have that particular loss, that loss would be $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I could sit there and say, okay, well, can you afford a $100,000 loss if this was to occur? And if they go, yeah, I can manage that. Yeah. Then you say, okay, well then you know what? Self-insure. Take the risk.
Yeah.
Seriously, you can self-insure. Take the risk. Don't buy the $10,000 coverage. And if at some point in time that $100,000 loss happens, you chew it, kind of thing. But if you say to them, can you afford that $100,000 loss? And you go, oof, no. If I had a $100,000 loss in the year, I'm going bankrupt. It's like, well, then you can't basically not afford the $10,000 coverage. And that's kind of almost like how I see your business. It's like, you want to go to the next level. It's like, we'll just use, it's like, I'm going to charge you $3,000. And someone's going to say, ooh, $3,000 is a lot. It's like, yes, but with that $3,000, I can save you this many hours per week. And that means you can maybe even possibly do more business and make $30,000 off of the $3,000 you spent.
Now, kind of add on what Matt said here. So I've been doing B2B sales since I was 25. I'm 40 now, so there you go. Age me a bit, right? So I've seen a lot of businesses, and one thing I've seen is like businesses that do scale up quick and fold. Right.
Yeah.
So when there were two guys in the truck, everything was perfect. Right. Matt and Mike's podcast, nothing could go wrong. It was just us, and it was just very letting our overheads the beers. It's pretty easy.
This time next year it'll be a mega network.
Yeah.
There you go.
But hey, no, you grow too fast. And say Matt and I, we know we want to expand in every province. We find a Mike and Matt in every province in the country. Next thing you know, afternoon pints are localized everywhere. We're like a little virus.
Yeah.
And then we realize that all these guys want to get paid, and we try to pay everybody and realize we can't.
Yeah.
Right? And we fold.
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen this happen, like here in Halifax, over and over again. Franchises that try to expand too quickly. I've seen it happen with guys that do electrical work.
Yeah, well, you're right about that. Sometimes we fall the victim of our own success, right? And why we do that? Simply because of poor planning. So this is why I always evangelize that the first thing that you need to do for a business, for your podcast, for your carpentry work, for your restaurant, for the mega $1,000,000 company, is your strategy. You need to start with a strategic plan. You need to know what to expect in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Yeah, you will not nail it, but at least you will have an idea. You can anticipate, right? So this is the first thing. The second thing is managing cash flow. So you need to manage your cash flow very efficiently. You need to be super smart about dealing with money. And I would say most of the people who are failing in business because they don't know about money. So if you don't know how to read your profit and loss, you don't know how to read your balance sheet, you don't understand your profit margins, right? The first thing, I teach a course about essential skills for business with workplace education. One thing we teach people is about cash flow, is about understanding how you price for profit, right? So, and I always say, now to scale it up a little bit, like if you are a good business person and you are entering a room to negotiate, right? In order to win in negotiation, it's knowledge. So when you enter a room and you know what are your margins, and your customer is going to tell you, oh, you know what, I need 10% discount. If you go and say, oh, you know what, I need to go back, I need to ask, I need to check, you fail. That's it. You are the weak person in the room. But if you say, you know what, I can give you now 5%. I cannot give you the 10, 5 now. If you sign it now, you get the 5. Now you have the upper hand. You know your numbers. You have a better negotiation.
Sure.
Negotiation.
One thing I learned last year is valuing my time more.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Starting to learn that, man. Like I'm just like, no, my time's worth more than that.
Exactly.
Not to be arrogant, but hey, I love being with my family. I love just doing nothing.
I will tell you one thing. You know
so,
what's the difference between arrogance and ignorance? Is knowledge, right? So when you have knowledge, you're not arrogant. But when you don't have the knowledge and you pretend to know, then you are ignorant.
Oh, what are you calling me now?
Jury's out.
Jury's out.
So when you have the knowledge, then you're not arrogant. You know what you want. Like getting into a room and knowing what you want, or at least knowing what you don't want.
Right. Yeah.
Is already, you are a winner.
Yeah.
You are already a winner at the negotiation table, or even at whatever you want to have.
Right? I agree with that, man. That's cool. Yeah.
And this is what we tell people, is that first of all, we help you to know things about your own business, some processes, basic processes, because we know that many people who are now owning businesses maybe didn't go to a business school, like they got this carpentry business from their fathers, right? They've been there all the time, but they never learned about the marketing tools, about the management tools, about HR, about payroll, about taxes. You know how many persons I spoke with, and they said, at some point they were in trouble with CRA because they didn't collect HST, or they spend their HST.
Yeah.
Right?
Geez, yeah.
Simple things.
No.
Simple things. And this is where we come and help people. I am not a tax advisor. We don't look a lot into this, but building a process. I will help you build the process for collecting HST, and then I will give you a reference to a tax advisor to help you to work with that.
Wow.
And that's like something like that. That's a prime example of something that goes across every single possible like business.
100%. Yeah.
Right. Like knowing when to collect HST and what that threshold is, and like how to do it in the process and all that stuff. Like it doesn't matter what job you do.
Exactly.
That's something that every single person who owns a business needs to know.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by StrategyUp. StrategyUp is a business consulting firm led by Marc Zirka, who has over 20 years' experience in building commercial strategies that will up your game, organize your teams, increase your productivity, and grow your business.
Whether you're a construction company looking to grow your revenue or a busy restaurant owner just trying to keep the doors open, StrategyUp can help. StrategyUp's boutique-style consultations will help you improve business process across nearly any industry.
Being a successful entrepreneur does not mean you have to be an expert in everything. StrategyUp specializes in building a relationship with you. Once pain points in the business are realized, StrategyUp will introduce process and technology that will power up your game to the next level.
A successful business requires investment. Your next step towards growth starts now. Email info@mystrategyup.com for a free business discovery call. Up your game with StrategyUp.
Or sometimes they don't have an agreement. They don't have a legal agreement. Yes, I understand an email or even a handshake legally is accepted, right? But you will have a very hard case to prove a handshake. But if you have a legal agreement, it will be easier to prove your case, right?
That's true.
So few simple things that we help them in building through processes, through automation, through understanding their business efficiency. And our focus is mainly on the customer excellence.
And you help with technology too, and sometimes I think that scares the heck out of people. Right.
Yeah.
Technology can be
fear from the unknown, resistance to change, right?
So I mean, but technology can help.
Yes.
Technology helps us with this podcast.
Big time.
Ask Matt. Like when I discovered AI could write the episode synopsis for me. Because I'd be sitting there, man, and I'd be waiting like an hour and a half trying to be like, oh God, how am I going to explain this person and this episode?
Yeah.
Because it's really challenging. You want to do justice to everyone, right?
Well, exactly. And then on top of all of that too, like we're also using technology when it comes to, like we were we can get the transcripts.
Yeah.
Because the technology gives us it all. And if we
course.
want it, we're doing flashback Fridays now.
Yeah.
And
So
we're
we're finding quotes.
We're finding quotes,
Yeah.
and we're finding the quotes through like the transcripts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool, right?
Yeah.
Like
That's
so
amazing.
cool,
That-
right? Like,
yeah, of
and
course.
so I put a value on that. I told Matt, I said, okay, it's going to be $20 American a month for me to have this co-host AI thing, listen to our podcast. I'm like, how much is my time worth?
Yeah.
Well, an hour of my time's worth $20, right?
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Yeah.
not such an event. It's $20 a month, right?
That's the thing, though. But I think to our scale,
Yeah.
$20 is still something, right? Like, you know, that can represent anything, right? That can be that $20 can be $1,000 to another company and $10,000 to another company, right?
Exactly.
But we're spending that $20 in order for you to save that 20 minutes to a half an hour every week.
Exactly.
Or
So
every episode.
out on the barbecue a little faster that
That's
Sunday,
right.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Worth it, though, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
definitely. And I will get you a quote now so that maybe you want to pick up on that. So I always say, for every entrepreneur and business leader who wants to improve their business, I always say that Thomas Edison didn't discover the light bulb from the continuous improvement of candle. He had a paradigm shift, a different way of thinking, so that he was able to improve us from candles to a light bulb.
Right.
So if you want to have your light bulb in your own business, you need to have this paradigm shift. You need to have this lateral thinking outside of the box so that you can find the next best thing that is not what you are used to do. It's something completely different that will take you to the next level and the next stage.
I can see
That's
that being
super smart.
Yeah, I can see that being like a little meme. I can
Yeah.
picture that already. A little light bulb, black
Yeah.
background, golden letters. I can see it already.
There you
And
go.
I'll need to innovate to fit all those words onto a page. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We can figure it out, though.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And if we can't, AI will.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, but yeah, so I think so. I mean, is there anything like that? You know, if anyone had any type of questions or thinking like, okay, what are things like that you can help them with outside of just like some of the processes and stuff like that? Because I know you also do some courses. There's
Yes.
a little bit of that. So there's also some education things
Yeah.
as well. But what else? Like, I know you offer a bunch of things too.
So yeah, but I don't want to say that we offer a bunch of things. We are focused on improving the customer experience, right?
Yeah.
So anything that is touching the customer experience,
Right.
then this is what we improve. Now you have a bunch of things that are touching the customer
right. Okay,
experience,
yes,
right?
yeah.
So for example, touching customer experience is your internal processes, like how you greet a customer, how you talk to a customer, how you give support to a customer. By when you want to answer. Like I sent an email to 3 companies to do a fire pit for me. No one yet responded to me. So yeah, I've been waiting
Right.
for 2 weeks now, right? So
Yeah.
when they are going to respond, at least to say, hey, sorry, we cannot make it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
At least,
Yeah.
Right? So how are you going to improve the customer experience? Then you have the marketing aspect. Of course, you have your website. But before going to that, do you have a marketing strategy? Who is your target audience? Like some people tell me, oh, everybody is my customer. Wrong. Not everybody is your customer.
Oh, that's
right?
very true, and that's
Yeah.
something that people lose sight of. Yeah.
Exactly. So marketing is an aspect, then your processes, then your business management. So this is why we look at customer experience and everything that is touching the customer. This is where we're going to help them. What we do is that we do business
There's
discovery
another one.
calls,
Yeah.
right? So we
Yeah.
do free business discovery calls. You can reach out, have a chat, the same way we're having a beer. I can have a coffee, I can have a beer, you can come to the office, I can come to your office. It doesn't matter. We can do a Zoom call, a Teams call, an AI call, whatever you want to call it, right? It doesn't matter. But we can have that chat
Yeah.
to see if I can help, because it's not all the time that I can help.
Yeah.
And I am happy to say that, you know what, this is not my expertise, it's
Right.
not me, but at least I can refer you to someone.
Right.
I know other people who can help you if I cannot help you. But if I can help you, then we can give you an idea how we can help, and then we can take it from there. As you said, some people have budget restrictions.
Right.
I will give you a story just for us to understand the value for money. So once there was a ship stranded in the middle of the sea. And then the captain was talking to his engineers, and the engineers were not able to start the engine of the of the ship. And then one of the engineers, he said, you know what, I know a great technician, but he is on shore. The captain said, no problem, send a helicopter, let him come, let him fix it. They brought this technician, he came with a hammer. So he asked the captain to show him the engine room. He went to the engine room, he looked around, he took his hammer, he tapped on the engine started. It took him probably 2 seconds. And then the captain was so happy. He said, "Oh, thank you so much, man. You really helped us. Go back, send me your invoice. I will pay you, no problem." The next day, the technician sent the invoice. It was $10,000. The captain said, "What the hell? This is too expensive." And then he asked this engineer who knows this technician. He said, "You know what? Tell him to send me an itemized bill because this is impossible to pay $10,000 just to tap." Then next day he received the itemized invoice, and on it there was 2 lines, right? Tapping on the engine, $1. Knowing where to tap, $9,999. So this is why consultants, advisors, coaches are very important to your business, because they know where to tap. It's not about telling you what they are doing, but they will explain to you how to do it. And the how is very important. The why and the how are very important. First of all, you need to understand why you're doing things. So know your why is very important. Then know how to do it. So this means that we help you save time and money. So that don't try to do it all the time by yourself and redo the same thing 15 times. And if every time you spend $100, this is $1,500 that you lost.
So how do people reach you?
Well, they can reach us. Definitely, we have our website, which is mystrategyup.com. Also, they can send us an email, info@mystrategyup.com, and I will be more than happy to reply to them. Also, I am on LinkedIn, so anyone who's looking for me on LinkedIn, they will find my name.
Connect with Marc on LinkedIn. He'll be your friend. And say hi. Listen to the Afternoon Pint. But just connect with Marc. Some good insights there.
And then we'll invite them to our networking event, which is the Maritime Masters Networking Group, where we meet once a month on Zoom call to just help each other. And Matt and Mike, both of you were on our networking events. We help each other. We are here to just help. There are no fees. It's free. Anyone who is in the maritime, and especially here in Nova Scotia, they are more than welcome to join us and expand their network.
And look out for a future IP event that we're all working on here too. That where you'll see Marc and hopefully many other of our guests, previous guests, and more. And people are just interested in being there.
I guess the last thing, just when everyone thinking about reaching out to you, like the relationship that you have, like do you find that an ongoing thing, or is it like kind of like okay, I'm going to be needing to do this for like 6 months, and then you can be on your way, but if you need me, come back, kind of thing?
Well,
that way, if anyone's intimidated, right?
This is a good question. I would hope to be your friend forever, right? So whether you work with us or not, I love to build a relationship. We stay in touch. We help each other. There are no hard feelings if you ask for my help and then you say, no, this is not for me. At the contrary, like for me, it's just I knew one more person, so this is cool. This is more for me. So I am the lucky person. But also we have customers who've been with us for like 3-4 years. We have customers who just need a small thing and then nothing for 2 years, and then they come back a year after. So the business model is very flexible. My role is honestly not to get rich out of one customer. I want to get rich out of thousands of customers. So I am not here to just take your money or to just try to give you or in a way to hold you hostage as a customer. At the contrary, what we do is that we enable you to do everything without us once we finish the project. This is my role, because we want to educate people. As you said, we do lots of training. We educate the team members. So for me, I don't withhold information. I am here to give as much as I can. And this community over here helped us a lot when we started. And I cannot be thankful enough for all the people who helped us around when we started until today. So giving back is unlimited. There is no limit for me how I can give back as much as I can. Honestly, we just look at the project. And this is why I don't count hours. And some people say, what is your rate per hour? I don't rate per hour. I give you value. I give you project-based value, right? If it makes sense. Why I don't do that? Because if I tell you that the project needs 20 hours or the projects need 10 hours, will I be good or bad for you? right?
Yeah.
So if I want more money from you, well, the project needs 300 hours, right? I will make more money. Are you happy to pay me $150 an hour, $300 an hour? Right? I will tell you, okay, $300 hours. Or what if I can do the same project with 10 hours because I built efficiency, I have my technology. You don't want to learn how you can do that?
Yeah.
And this is how you scale up.
Well, and quite honestly, I fully agree with that. Like, you can someone can come to you just exactly what you said and say like, hey, I need this help, X help. And you can sit there and say like, well, you know what, I want to make sure I make a good amount of money out of this guy. So 30 hours.
Yeah.
And he's going to go, I agree. And you might get it done in 10.
And he goes golfing.
And then you go golfing afterwards, right? Or you could just say, here's what it is to get the job done.
Yeah.
Period.
Because then you will never be able to scale up, especially when you are a business of one person. People are going now to be able to calculate that 1 + 1 = 2.
Do you know that there's a lot of speculation that like the 9 to 5 is over? Like, are starting to like face extinction.
The mentality
of the 9 to 5 over
yeah.
the next. I don't know if it was 10 years or 5 years. I don't want to misquote it, but
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because philosophies and how things get done are starting to change.
Well, things are changing. I mean, people are talking about 4-day work weeks and all that other stuff. And
Sure.
Personally, I would like, if hopefully we can like make a living out of this and we can do this full time someday. But if that never happens, I would never worry. I would never choose the 4-day work week. You know what I would actually do? 6-hour work days.
Okay.
Do that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go work from like 8 to 3.
Well, it's just like cleaning your house. It's like cleaning your house. We had company over on Sunday. I was like, oh, geez, we got to get this house clean. Andrea's parents are coming over, right? And we want the house to look nice when they come over. Andrea and I bust our butt, man. 3 hours each, where we got that house clean top to bottom. You could, you know what I mean? And there was a lot to be done. If we had no visitors, that house would have took 12 hours to clean. Because we would have both got sidetracked, took our time, whatever, right? So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
3 productive hours can kick butt, right? So
100%. I'd rather get off at 3 o'clock every day, be able to go to the gym or do something else, and then still get home for 5 o'clock.
Have a beer.
Yeah. Have a beer, whatever.
There you go. 100%.
So I agree. Things are changing. Things are changing.
Things are changing. And push that change. Working with guys like Marc, I think working towards solutions to find ways to innovate and make your life a little bit easier, right? To realize you don't have to know everything.
That's right.
A little humility will help you a long way.
Awesome.
Right.
You know what?
Man,
I think
Marc,
that's a good way. Honestly, Marc, thank you so much.
Thank you
Not
so
only
much.
for being a guest, but
and
actually
a
joining
sponsor
the
supporting
family.
us. We appreciate it, and more than you'll ever know. We really do appreciate it, Marc.
Thank you so much.
This is really valuable to us, and your insights as well. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was really great over here.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
See ya.